has always played a vital role in African society. Music has been used as a powerful tool for communicating ideas. Song and dance have always been characteristic of the African way of life. In Zambia, the education system has always acknowledged the value music plays in developing young minds, teaching and learning, preserving culture, and providing an opportunity for talent identification and development, and for pleasure and enjoyment in various educational activities.
No one may be dreaming of a world.
With this acknowledgement, music is part of the Zambian school curriculum from early grades through to tertiary level. Despite the significance music plays in society and in the education system, in many institutions, music has not flourished. Its teaching and learning has not fully been developed, and one wonders why this is so. There is no doubt indeed that, like any practical subject, effective teaching and learning of music cannot be possible in the absence of musical instruments. While most schools have had to rely on traditional musical instruments and mere core aspects of music, it is an undeniable fact that the lack of appropriate and adequate conventional musical instruments in their various families, which include string, brass, percussion and synthesizers, have often posed a big challenge in effectively teaching and learning music.
It's been difficult to teach minus instruments. We have very few things. We only have maybe 2 keyboards, one keyboard and 2 guitars, and it has not been easy to accommodate the different classes we have, and most classes have about 50 and more students, so it has not been easy.
I've been looking forward to having an orchestral instruments. I think we're lacking, especially in that area when you're teaching the grade 12s. It's quite tricky. You're talking about trombone, you're talking about a trumpet, they don't know. Probably maybe a trumpet is easier, you can easily access, but things like instruments like trombone, maybe tuba and these others, clarinets, a few of them have got access to such instruments and they've never seen them. But I think this is a very good opportunity.
When one has no instrument, they actually have no idea. But once one has an instrument, they see the instrument and the interest and the morale becomes more, and that they would want to be with an instrument all the time.
Perhaps the story about the inadequacies of conventional musical instruments in Zambian schools is slowly but surely becoming yesterday's news. This is as a result of the coming of an organization called Instruments for Africa, IFA. What is IFA? Who is behind it? And what good tidings do they bring to Zambia as far as teaching and learning of music is concerned?
Of the world as a place of infinite possibilities, always good.
Wow, that tune can lead into a very good song.
Yes. Linda Secondary School is where my Instruments for Africa project really began. In May of 2012, I was in Livingston only on vacation, and I had my guitar with me, not this one, but one very similar to this, that my boss, where I teach music in Canada, my boss had given me a guitar, and with the agreement that I would give the guitar away to somebody while I was traveling. And so near the end of my trip, and somebody told me that the Linda School had need of instruments. So I came here and I visited with the headmaster, who introduced me to the music teacher, and that's when I found out that they had 2 music teachers and 300 children taking music lessons every week, and they didn't have a single working instrument in the whole school. And so I was inspired to leave my guitar with them. And in the auditorium just back there, they asked me to come back the next day to present the guitar in person to the students. And they assembled all 300 students in the auditorium. And so I told them that my school in Canada had given me this guitar to give to their school, and they got very excited. And they asked me to play a song, so I played that Bob Marley song. And I started singing, "Don't worry about a thing." And then the whole school started singing. I didn't even know they even knew who Bob Marley was. And they all sang it right back to me. And it was a very emotional experience. And so when I went back to Canada, after giving them the one guitar, I thought, well, that was nice. But I went back to Canada and I realized, what's one guitar going to do for 300 kids? And so I wrote a letter to my local newspaper, and I asked people in the letter, I told them about the Linda High School, and I asked them if they had an instrument that they weren't using, maybe their son or daughter had given up an instrument, if they had it sitting around, to donate it to me, and I would bring it here and give to the Linda School. So I had the idea to bring a whole concert band for the music department, and we had too many instruments coming in. So before long we had certainly enough instruments for Linda Secondary, and then more instruments kept coming in. So in the end, after getting everything serviced and fixed and made sure everything was playable, in the end we had 1,400 kilos of instruments and enough for 9 schools. So we've now delivered instruments to 9 schools here in Zambia. It's exciting for me to see how excited that the students and the teachers are to get them. I tell my friends back home it's like they're teaching swimming, but they don't have any water in the swimming pool, and it's crazy. So now they can finally have an opportunity to take what they've been learning through theory and through singing and apply it to some really good musical instruments. And everybody is very quick to thank me, which I appreciate. But really, it's not my generosity, it's the generosity of the individuals back in Canada. I didn't donate a single, outside of that first guitar, well actually that wasn't even mine, that was my employer that gave that to me. So I haven't donated a single instrument myself. It's all just individuals and different schools and groups in Canada that have been donating these instruments. So it's, my role has been to collect them and get them serviced and to ship them here. But really it's the people back in Canada that should be thanked. When I was in high school myself, that was the first, I walked into a music class and I was given a trumpet to play, and that was my first time experiencing music. And though I didn't end up becoming a trumpet player, I ended up being a guitar player. It was through that I was able to play with the school band, and it really instilled a very important part in me, which was the love of music. And it just seems not fair that the kids here in Zambia don't have the same opportunity.
In life, one has come across different types of people: bad people and good people, destroyers and builders, selfish people and generous people, volunteers and reapers, cruel and kind people. In all such experiences, the feeling one gets when witnessing the have-nots receiving, a need being met, and a smile put on the face of those who waited and hoped for a long time is touching, especially when the motive of giving is truly born from sacrifice and not gain.
Today we have received donations of musical instruments, and to us as a school, it's really something that is really going to help us improve the teaching of music. Children are really going to learn different other skills that they didn't probably have an opportunity to learn before we received these instruments. And knowing also that there are some children that are just talented, and with the use of these instruments it will take them far in their career of music. As a school, we've been budgeting for these instruments year in, year out, but because of inadequate resources, we've been unable to purchase or procure these instruments. So to us, it is really, really a great opportunity to receive such a donation, because it has helped us to do something that we failed to do on our own.
As a place of infinite possibilities, always good.
What do you think is the value of music in education and also in society?
Actually, music is very vital to the education process. Our pupils nowadays are very bored. We have a cadre of pupils that don't have interest in school, maybe because of the way we are teaching. If we, for example, involve music in subjects that are unpopular to pupils like maths and science, perhaps it would enhance their interest. We feel very privileged as a school to be among the very few recipients of the music equipment, because we've had music as a subject, but it hasn't been very practical in that we haven't had all the necessary instruments, except for a few guitars and a keyboard. We've had almost nothing. Okay, of course we've had the traditional instruments like the drums, but that's all we've had in music. So the equipment that we've received will go a long way in making music a reality in our school.
As a place of infinite possibilities, always good.
We've observed that in the past, music has been very theoretical in our Zambian schools because of the expensive instruments that are supposed to be used. And the few schools that have afforded buying, we find that they do not match the number of pupils that are taking music in those schools. And for us to receive these instruments that we've received today at a go, that makes a very big difference. Because for instance, the 15 guitars that have been left today, it means practically at a time we can have 15 pupils playing that kind of instruments at the same time. For me, music is a subject like any other subject, and I think it's high time that as Zambians we changed our mindset. Because in the past, certain things were done for entertainment, but you find that these days, even music itself, it could be a source of living for children. If they're able to acquire that art, I would want to believe they can be able to sustain their lives now. So economically and at an individual level, music is very important. We normally use music to change certain situations, and it's a way of campaigning for people to get certain things that they want done, and a way of getting things stopped that they don't need in society. So I think it's a very important way of communication as far as I'm concerned.
No matter how hopeless or foolish it may seem, always keep thinking.
Whichever way one chooses to look at it, the gesture by Mr. Snellgrove towards Through Instruments for Africa, donating an entire shipment of musical instruments to needy schools in Zambia, deserves commendation. It does not happen all the time.
Cross our fingers and dream on.
Admittedly, the consignment of the musical instruments was precious cargo which needed self-delivery to all receiving schools. The Ministry of Education, Science, Vocational Training and Early Education did not leave anything to chance, and the delivery of the instruments was facilitated through a team comprising Ministry of Education officials and using the very best of available and reliable transport in the ministry. The schools that were privileged to receive the donation were Lusaka Jerizet Secondary School and Roma Girls in Lusaka District, Parkland Secondary School and Tweety Private Primary School in Chilanga District, Monze Primary and Monze Boarding Secondary School in Monze District, Kalomo Secondary School in Kalomo, and Zambezi Primary and Linde Secondary Schools in Livingstone, Zambia's tourist capital. Playing any musical instrument is a skill, and all skills are learned. Without musical instruments to practice on, whether traditional or conventional, it is difficult to acquire skills of playing musical instruments. One thing for sure is that with the availability of instruments in their schools, all learners will have an opportunity to discover their talents musically. All of us have some talent or gift, but without trying out things, we may not know what potential lies in us. The same goes for musical skills. They are discovered, realized, learned, and perfected through practice.